Let's finish. That's a little one. So
Haben Sie den schon? Wie?
Då kan man också.
Macht der Rekord auch etwas? Hängen auf Tischen so. Shalom Aleichem. I'm here a long time already. Everybody hears me. We are today, first day of Slichas. טישים high. Going into Shoshuna. טישים Wolf. Talking about the Dirshi Hashem B'Motzah K'ri B'Yoyse Kulev. It's a time that everyone can find a Benishleim, the famous Moshe from the Baratanya, king, when he comes into the town. First, he arrives in the Suda without any without any disguise. He comes as a regular person. To when he goes into town, but in the Suda, anyone can get close to him, anyone can talk to him. And he's v'seivet punim yufis, mekabel kilom v'seivet punim yufis, imare punim sochikos lekulam. And he shows a smile to everybody. The closer he gets to the town, everybody's going after him. But the minute the Melech comes into the Hichal of the Malchus, then nobody can go in only with permission. And this is only special people, etc. So we know that these days are days that HaKadosh Baruch Hu opens up a window. He opens up a window in order to, we should see the Rebbeinu Shloim. Not only we have to be missing the Rebbeinu Shloim, in my humi ulav, I myself says Shloim HaMelech Yashir, Perikai, Doidi Shulach Yudam Anachor, in my humi ulav, I become missing, yearning for the Rebbeinu Shloim. That means in these days, a person can get much closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu than in other days. These days are actually, we start off the Slichas, we start off with Chu Hashem Azduku, V'luni Boishes Apunim. Actually, I have no idea what I did all year. As the Bush used to say, but that person's busy, what have I done? That's only a half of work. The person has to be busy, what am I doing from now on? Bush says as long as a person is busy with the past, he's not in the hoive, he's not in the present, and rather not in the future. Even though you can promise all kinds of Avtuchas in the future, but he's busy running from the past to the future, from the past to the future. So when is a person in the hoive, Busha says hoive starts by machshuva. When a person starts using his mind, that the past schleps him away. What did I do? And the future takes upon himself, what am I going to do? First you have to decide everything in your machshuva, your thoughts. As we know by Chassidus, there's machshuva, there's dibbe and masa, there's thinking, talking, and then doing things. Anything that says anything a person does physically, usually he talks about it. You can see in elderly people that the machshuv and the dibba go together. Whatever they think about, they're moving their lips. Says the Baal Shem Tov, machshuv and dibba usually go together. And masa is an outcome of machshuva, which goes to dibba, which goes to masa. Says that if a person doesn't control his thoughts, his machshuvas, automatically he speaks things that he's not supposed to. He doesn't even feel it. And the end, lo yemulet, it's not possible you get away from doing something wrong. That's called living the hoive. A person can only be in a machshuva in the hoive. How can be machshuva in the hoive? That he condenses, what did I do? What am I going to do? In this second. That means what's it mean this second? Birshi Hashem b'himotzai, kriya b'yoyse kulev. That is the regla from Tshiva. There are two parts of Tshiva too. There's parts of Tshiva which is in your mind, which is called Azivah. You decide to stop it, as the Rambam says. The whole Tshiva is Mai Tshiva, Shiyazev HaChoyte Chetay. Rambam Perek Bais, Luchas Tshiva, Lucha Bais. Number one, Aziva. You have to stop, take under yourself that you're not doing the chet anymore. You're going to take it away from your thought, and you will decide, I ain't doing it anymore. Yazev Rusha Darka, Vishuva Machshavoisov. It's one of the things that the Bush always said. Actually, a person has no bchira. Agana is to geboren, Agana is to sterben. A person shouldn't say that he is emes lamita, because a person is, as we said before, emes soim b'psuvit mezamecha. And shula batzuma pnechatusi. The Pesach Hatasovitz, a person just is from day one. He's running after it's a shaludim is gabulov. So how can the Rambam say that I take upon myself that I'll stop it? It's against my nature. Secondly, says the Rambam, Yisnachem ala uve, you should regret what he did in such a way, which is called Charuta. And Mela, you come to such a stage that Yud Ulav Yidei Talimos Kabula, the Rebbeinu Shalom will say, witness, Shlo Yushev Zeh Achet La'olam. I will never return to it. Shanema V'lo Yema Oid Elakaini L'Masi Yadayni. Once a person has done this avodah in his thoughts, in his machshuvah, then he goes over to dibber, as you said for the Baal Shem Tov. It's automatic, but Rambam says you can't just do automatic. You have to think what you're talking about. They say the Rab Shetzuf, someone's sitting by Yom Kippur and banging on his heart. They told him in Yiddish, a Yid was klapped there. Why are you banging so much? There's nobody home there. Kein nicht daheim. That means if the thoughts are not into Azira, Kavuna, Charutah, and all you're doing is just saying what you have to say, then you're missing out the point. That means we have to use the machshava. And what is machshava? By a person. Moshe used to explain machshava itself is split up to 3 phases in machshava. Machshava itself starts off with a sparkle of a lightning that comes down from the kesser, we call it. It's called the snotzitz kesser. A person gets suddenly a spark, something comes in, he said, and you can tell someone, what did you say to me? Then it starts here. Here is only still taking the spark and making sense out of it. Then comes machshava. Machshava is much lower. Machshava is where it comes to binu. Halev, maivim, it's already a heart. As long as it's only in the spark, only in the here, which you're talking about, the thought, it's all called senses. It's not yet regish, it's not yet emotions. And once you go into thought, who is doing the thinking? The binu. And binu is lev. And lev, that's where the emotions start. So any time a person lets his mind running on automatic, any spark, he says, who is it? What is it? How is it? And they say, who, what, when, where, why? Then automatically he develops a certain hirhur, a certain mahalach. You have to work it out. Once he has this here, so he has to work it out. Working it out is called binu. Maven dura, b'toch dura. But until the binu, when it's only in the spark, and only in the hirhur, it's only sensing there is something wrong here. But it's not yet it's not yet a emotion. Just like a person has the 5 chushim, seeing, tasting, hearing, touching. This is not something that I understand. There is no explanation to that. You can't explain the taste of a banana. Same thing is, as long as it's still in havzek and spark, and in here, it's before the machshava. Then it's only senses. A person can already sense that something's here, not something, I don't know, something, I don't understand something. Then a person can still say, who's the one that gives me this spark? Who's the one that gives me this here even before it becomes the machshava? It's the koyach, it's the life, the strength, the energy that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us through energy. Va'atu machayas kilam, you're the one that brings in life. It's called chiyus, which is called koyach hapoyal banifu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that's creating every second new worlds, new thoughts. And when it comes to us, it comes in a sense right away that we can feel, not an emotion, but in the sense that there is something here. Then I can say, Hashem, Shemati Shemachu, Yeraisi. I hear there is something here, which is called senses, but Yeraisi, I don't want to take it to the wrong place. So actually, you start developing a conversation with the Menschler, back and forth. And you don't get overwhelmed with the binah, you don't get overwhelmed with your thoughts. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one that refines it. That we call it Nisham Yispor de Kipa'alavim. You don't have to even refine it. All you have to do is return it. Also these days, people get parcels, and they call the right parcel or comes something wrong. So you send it back all the way to China, wherever it came from. You get a new one. You get a credit. There's the same thing about Shlitim. Gets every time to a person his koiches, but by the time it comes down to the Keser and to the Chochma, there's always a mishmash there. Why? Because the Tov and the Ra starts already in Chochma. The Pusik says, Chachomen hemu lehura. In Chochma there's already bad and good. And the body schleps the person down to the Ra, to the understanding, to the emotions, and the neshama, which is the chelik from the Rebbeinu Shalom, schleps you up like a magnet to a minna, to understand that you don't understand. Ein gif, because Baruch is not a human being. The ein masiga gif. So every time when a person gets whatever thought he gets, that's called shmiras hamachshuva. He always says the whole chassidus, which Usha said, anytime a person tells you something, or Shamta says, anytime you see something, anytime you feel something internal, it will always come with a mixed messages. And if you're going to start to understand those mixed messages, they're going to mess you up even more, because once you try to understand, you're going into emotions. And if you don't even try to stop it, and the machshuv by the emotions, automatically you're going to start talking about your mixed messages. And you have to make sense out of it. And who's the one now that's making sense out of all of this? Is really the body. And the body will always schlep you down to negative conclusions, or we call it not spiritual conclusions. We'll schlep you down to understanding. We'll be busy with years einish, we'll be busy how dangerous it is. Or as the Busha calls it, because of his gava, he'll start being busy in afkeras. He can't stand that collision between the positive and the negative. So he decides he's going to do what I can do, and just numbs his feelings altogether. So the avoida actually, which the Rosh used to call avoida is actually in the thoughts. Much before you get to talking, much before you get to doing. And then Rosh kept on going. It's not here the place, but once a person messes up, is talking and doing, and he sees he's not calm, so he starts blaming all kinds of people, which also starts off in machshuva, and it goes over to dibber, starts saying this one is it, that one is it, and at the end he even does all kinds of actions that he distances himself from all kinds of people. But the avodah from the human being is, as the Baal Shem Tov Kudish says, wherever you go, whatever you see, wherever you are, because Baruch is sent you there on purpose, you have to meet your chelik of your neshama there, which is called nitzotzes, which come into, which that gives you your life, because your life is in every place that you come. Just like in food, when you eat, it's not the food that you're eating, it's the chiyus, the life that's in the food, that gives your life to the chelik, spiritual, and the guf, the body takes the material part. The same thing. It's also in mukim. It's also in wherever you go. It's also in zmanim, like now in Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. You get a very big parcel with a lot of energy, and if you don't take it rightly, usually a person become afraid. There's the famous people that just run away from being in the city and go out somewhere far, and they come back after Simchas Torah. They can't take the pressure. The same thing is in Masim. You have to do all kinds of things this month that you're not doing all year round. Someone once said, my bank manager would see me going around on a Shana Rabba with a liliv and a esig 7 times around the Sefer Torah. He's gonna throw out my credit. I won't get any mortgages anymore. That means somewhere a person has to decide, this is actually something that a Kodesh Baruch Hu is talking to me, which I can't understand, and I won't understand. It's not possible to feel it. All there is a possibility to believe in it. At the end of the day, is ta'amu. Ta'amu means senses. I won't feel it in emotions, but I can taste it. Ta'amu irukitoy Hashem. Again, Kodesh Baruch Hu is emes, but in taste, I see I'm going the right way. That means actually, Shchodesh starts with a preparation. Yom Narun starts with a month before, with El. Chassidim will say, it starts by Chamishus B'Uv. Why so much time? As they say, there was a chussid that wanted to say, Get Shabbos to the Rebbe. But he had a problem. He was stuttering. And every time he comes close to the Rebbe, he wants to say Get Shabbos, but it's time he starts saying Gid. Says Shabbos, he's out of the shul already. So Chava gave him a said, you know what? You start saying Good Shabbos when you're in the line. So by the time you get to the Rebbe, you're able to say Shabbos. The same thing when it comes these holy days. Says the Lechavich, that all the whole work is to come to Simchas Torah. We should say Atu Ha'esu Ladas Kashem Hirlakim. But this is a procedure. This you have to go through 51 days. You have to go through a whole work from Chamishus B'Uv till Elis comes the Shofar, then comes the Shoshuna, then comes the Kippur, then comes the Sikkahs. Each one has its part, Smoila Tachas Aroshi, Yemina Tachapkaini, which is Sikkahs. Then you come to Simchas Torah, that is actually you one with the Bnei Shleilim. But in order to get to that, it's a lot of work putting in, which the Busha calls it avoda. The main avoda is in the machshava. Machshava means I should get it back, all understandings, all emotions, back from where it comes. Because emotion you don't have to worry about, says the Rebbe Zisha. You're emotional anyways. Understanding, you don't have to worry about. A person will always want to understand. But as long as he's going the right track, he's not leaving the track of his Messiahs, we'll call it. Not leaving the track of the Torah, not leaving the track of his concentration, as we'll call it, the simple. Not running away from the Hoiva, not running away from the present, not busy all the time with past and future, then you're on the right track. If I'm able to say something, I'm able to do something, that's extras. I'm able to come to machshava, that's also extra. Sometimes you can see shuls, people sit down in shul, from the beginning to the end, just looking into the oasis of the tefillah, and not doing anything. We're not the ones that decide how far the Rebbe wants to give us the machshava, the dibber and the masa. All we can do is bucharto, b'chaim. All we can pick right now is to live with the one that's giving you life. That is only in the hoiva. And once a person is in the hoiva, once a person is in the present, then he's connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Who connects him? The Rebbe connects him. Koyach hapoel v'nifal. The koyach, if you see the strength that you have is not yours, the strength that you have is from the Rebbe, then Kadosh Baruch Hu is misham yispodi kupa'al, he cleans it out. It shouldn't harm you, and it'll give you, as the more a person gets closer and closer to Hashem, the more he gets elevated. And I said it's a difference between a carousel and a spiral. A spiral. A carousel turns around, ring around all the time. We're in the same place. A spiral schleps you up and the feet goes down. What's the difference? Moshe said, without the derech of a minute pshita, a person's always in a carousel. If it goes, he's in gava. If it doesn't go, he's in yush, turning through all the time. Gava is running away. Yush, he's in all kinds of atzmis. But if you live with the Rebbeinu Shalom, instead of being busy with gava and atzlut, actually every time you see your shiftless, you can't take care of yourself. You ask the Rebbeinu Shalom, Hareini Hashem Darkechu, Ahalach B'amitechu, then you're actually elevating your neshama, and you see how helpless, how powerless, how much your goof cannot help you. So actually the goof, the koach, the strength that the goof took for himself gets lower, and the strength of the magnet that schleps you up gets higher. That is actually the avodah of tshiva. So Moshe explains, what does the Rambam say? What is tshiva? We find David HaMelech, Moshe used to say all the time. David HaMelech says in Tilim, Kif Lamed Aleph, Shir HaMalos LeDavid, Hashem lo gava libi. I wasn't arrogant. Lo rumi einai. I didn't fool myself what I see, but I know what I see. Lo hilachti b'gedolos v'nefluas mimani. I never did things that is too big for me and too wild for me. We said in the past, people try to spend money they don't have, to buy things they don't need, in order they should have chayim, people that don't even like them. That means the Melech says, stage one in tshiva is Azivah. As the Moshe says, the main problem is that a person has gava. Gava is very hard for me when it comes in that hero, when it comes in that hevzik. I shouldn't think, well, 1 minute, what's going on here? Who did it? Why did he do it? That's part of the gava, that as we said, talked in the past, instead of being with mu Hashem Elokecha shel mimach, so you can bring it to you bring it back to who, the one that gives it to you. The same ma that you're asking, what is it, brings you down to binu, but only the part that you can use. The part that distances you from the Rebbeinu Shalom, that is ma, you're able to give back. That the chokhmah comes from ein, comes from the kesef, from the esaf, and the chokhmah, but his chokhmah will be a chokhmah as long as he's connected, as long as he uses the binah and not disconnect from the Rebbeinu Shalom. That's called ezi chokhmah haloimid mikaluda. A person that cannot accept anyone, and he's right, and he cannot v'haft l'racha kamoich, he's not able to stand, can't take the person. He might be right, but then he's right because he's trying to understand. He's trying to go according to his emotions. So sometimes I have to keep away from a person because he's dangerous, but the hafta l'racha kamoichu, the havel chassidus used to call, you have to love everything in the world, but you can hate the masim, his doings, his talkings. You don't want to get influenced, you don't want to get destroyed through them. But the hava that I give is actually not to the person, not to the, we're giving it to the neshama, we're all the same, which actually there's no right to destroy any tree, any grass, any chayfetz in the world, just because I'm nervous right now. That's why it says Ashoiva Kalim b'chamusa is avodah zarah, because you think this you can do here whatever you want. But that's not b'shvila nivra olam. So number one, says David HaMelech, all your problems that start off when what the Rambam says Azivah, Stop your arrogance. Stop your gava. Stop trying to understand everything. Stop doing things that you don't, not for you. Stop thinking things that it's just illusions. Stop getting anywhere that you don't belong there, that loses your emotions, loses your standstill. Number 2, and become Charuta. What is Charuta? What do I regret? I regret that I thought things I'm not supposed to. Well, that's a human being. I regret that I didn't talk. That's a human being. Whatever I'm going to do, regretting means I have to remind myself, doimamti means doimam. Doimam means just like just like the creation that Baruch created the world. There's doimam tzameach chayim v'davim. A person is the biggest diamond from all the diamonds. Because Baruch created him at first as a goylem. The first day he was created, because Baruch made out the form of a human being without any life. All he had was the life of a diamond. And only the last day, on Friday, the last 3 hours of the creation, 6 days, because Baruch gave the human being his nefesh. He gave him not only a nefesh, he gave him a nefesh which is chelik elokayim imal. Every animal, he only gave him how much the animal needs. It's nefesh chayim. Maluchim, each one of them got there as much as they need. The diamond got how much he needs. The tzameach gets how much he needs to grow. The chay, the behemoth, each animal gets its chiyas. A human being suddenly got chiyas from a malach. That means he's always, all the time, in this constant battle. Am I a malach, as the Bush said, or the bin hagalach? We go back and forth. And a person sometimes can go every second that way, and sometimes it's quiet all the time. But that is actually a charuta that I thought when I did something already, and I was able to be matzliach, I forgot that Hashem matzliach, and that's where I went wrong. And from there on, things happened already. Once I go back and have charuta, that I thought that I'm the Rebbeinu Shalom himself. Once heard someone says there's no such thing as an atheist in the world. Everyone believes there's a God. The problem is they think that they themselves are the gods. That means I have to decide that I'm a doimim, and I get my life from koyach hapoel v'nifel. Who is it? What is it? It's just believing. So what am I if I'm not a doimim, not a tzameach, not a chay, not a medaber, not a tzameach? They have no b'chira. I suddenly have b'chira. I can do things, but they can't. The same thing, the malach also has no b'chira. But I can start building and I can destroy. You have to decide, says the Melech, kegumel ala imo. You're nothing more than just a small child that can't move his hands, can't move his feet, can't understand anything. All he's relying on his mother to feed him, and his mother to be with him. So Rashi says, nafshi bekirbi, my nefesh that gives me the life, lenegdachu, when I understand when it comes from you, I'm like a yonik v'zdei imi. I'm like a yonik v'zdei imi. Just like on the arms of the mother, doesn't know what it's doing, doesn't know what a mother is. Even a Yudah Shah Kaneu, he even knows that. Who's the one that's giving him food? All I know, there's something here that's giving me the food. And even that, I have no idea. All I know is 3 things. A child is always happy. A child is always, why is he happy? Because he's being taken care of. A child is always busy, trying to, what he can do. And a child, when he needs something, he doesn't do it on himself. He starts crying and asking for it. So that's the Aziva, is leaving your arrogance. Charuta, take upon yourself that you're actually a diamond. Then the Kabbalah is the third person. Tilim, Yachel Yisrael El Hashem, מהאדמו ועוד. That who is the mother? The Shechina Gdeish, that the Kodesh Baruch Hu reveals himself to the Malchus, which every time we say L'chudoidi L'kas Kala Kodesh Baruch Hu should come to us. We should be able to accept what we need. We're always in a matzah of tefillah. Me'atu v'ad from the second I was created, even though I became a creation down here. Even when I go back, we're all the time Gomel Aleimah. It's only the difference here. I can talk myself into it, that I'm something separate. As the Ramchal says, my avodah here is to return everything back to the one that gave it to us. So we'll start summing up. People that are always busy. What did I do in the past? After the Shoah, my parents lost family, my father lost children, a wife, and they had to start from scratch. If they would be busy what was, they didn't talk about it. They just started doing, taking upon themselves what to do weiter. The people that were stuck, as we say, it wasn't they that were stuck, it was Hitler that not davening. It was Hitler that's acting that way, it wasn't them. But these days, a person, once to get stuck, it's not because the person wants him to get stuck. The person wants him to keep on going. Hayomi mazeh. You should live with this yom. Rashi says, "Al hayomi mazeh." If a person lives this way, this is the day of Rosh Hashanah, which I can connect to the Banshur, and it comes with a lot of baggage. Hayim haras olam, just like a woman that is more buried, and she has a child inside. It's pretty hard for her. Same thing, this day of Rosh Hashanah is just like the first day of creation. It's just the first day of creation has inside all the 6,000 years, all the 6 days from the next week, all the year. The same thing, this Rosh Hashanah has right in itself everything that has to come up, the 21 days of Rosh Hashanah, all the Chanukah, Purim, all these lights, all the orot that I'm going to get in the year, it's all in that day. So sometimes a person goes into Re'udu, he doesn't know what's going on. But Chazal say, Gili Re'udu. How do you make simcha with that tzitanish, as we said before? Hashem Shemati Shemachu. This is a day, Tchilas Masechu, this is a day that you start off the creation. And all you have to know that minute, Pischli Pesach Yechida Shemachat. Dafke the turmoil that you're in, the nervousness that you meet is not to run away, not to go into fight, flight, freeze, just the opposite. To use it to connect. Chida Shemachat, see your helplessness, see that balloon that you built yourself up is suddenly empty, accomplished who knows what. There comes this I start thinking something new is coming. That's frightening, etc. But it's not to frighten you off. It's to connect you to a higher level. It's a spiral to the bigger level. Every Rosh Hashanah we get our new chiyas, we get our new koiches. And I finished off with a very emotional that there was after the Shoah. There was a lady was brought up a family. There was just one problem. Wherever she came, to every simcha, to every airport, every place that she came, she was opening up bags, luggage, books, whatever she found, always opening up. And they never took anything. But the children were so ashamed that one day a child asked, "Mother, why are you doing this?" So she said, when the Holocaust broke out, they told us to go to the train station. I hopped fast with a bag, all my luggage, all my valuables. And I had a child of a half-year-old. I put him into a separate piece of luggage. I went to the train station with 2 pieces of luggage. And the German was standing there, yelling, "Nobody can take 2 pieces of luggage, only 1 piece of luggage." On the train, that really I had to decide. I decided to throw away the valuables, the diamonds, the money, and I'll take the child on the train. And as before I knew the train's going away, the train started moving. I opened up the luggage. I should give air, fresh air to the child. And suddenly I saw that I took the valuables, threw away my child. The same thing is, a human being comes down to this world, says David HaMelech, you're here to looking for your child. Your real diamonds, your real gold is up there in Shemayim. It's Yuka Mipnina Mipaz Zav. It's much, much more worth than the material gold and material diamonds. But what you have to do here is actually you have to look for your gumel ala imay, just like you have to know you're a gumel. In English they call it find the baby that's in you. That gives you the koyach to connect to yourself. So the more I'm golmi, says the Bush, the more I'm goylem, the more is ruyanechu. The more I'm gumel ala imay, the more is yachal yisur al Hashem. Because Baruch Hashem, this year should be people close and be a lot of schwere Sachen. Everybody here in his place, before here, it's a sur, but because Baruch He promises, Vaskol goes out every year. Yerutzen l'shon abu. You should have a gittir, a gezintir, a lebdikir, a yuf, and a avodah. Should be amtuk as dinan b'shoshem, a ksivach simatova. All the tefillah should be miskabel, l'rachmim, l'rutzen. Should always be able, after Yontif, to continue the shiurim, doch nachas, nachu v'sadas. Kol tif.
Thank you very much, Rebbe. Thank you very much. It was wonderful to see the Rebbe.
Sorry, it took a little time, but we're back. Call tips, yes, Titans.
Call tips.